Mr. President, if we can ask you specifically, we heard yesterday your frustrations about how long it'll take to count the ballots here. Then why are you spending more energy to get the resources and the funding for the states that they want to be able to secure this election for all Americans?
Peter, you know nothing about my energy. Okay,
What
you know nothing about what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
Listen, you know nothing about what I do.
The Americans will
So
listen to
NBC, I just told you about the false report that NBC put out the other night about the mayor of Portland, and this is the kind of stuff you get. You'll see what happens, and it's common sense. Everyone knows mail-in ballots are a disaster. You just have to take a look at the last recent. Take a look at New York City. Look at New York. They're still counting your ballots, Pat. Do you know that? They had a race, a small race by comparison. By comparison, tiny. It's so messed up, they have no idea there are ballots missing. Thousands and thousands of ballots are missing. They think they're going to send hundreds of millions of ballots all over the United States and it's going to come out. You won't know the election result for weeks, months, maybe years after. Maybe you'll never know the election result, and that's what I'm concerned with. It'll be fixed, it'll be rigged. People ought to get smart. And I just hope our Republican voters, the people that are for you, are going to do what they have to do. Absentee ballots are great because absentee ballots, you have to go through a process to get them, and it's actually a great thing. Absentee ballots, I'm going to be voting absentee. An absentee ballot is one thing. A universal mail-in ballot is a disaster. These governors are going to send out millions of ballots. They don't even know where they're sending them. I already have friends, they got ballots for a son who died 7 years ago. You don't even want to talk about it. But the media knows this. Actually, the Washington Post wrote a great article, of all groups. A week ago, the Washington Post wrote a great article that this is a disaster. This is going to be the greatest election disaster in history. And by the way, you guys like to talk about Russia and China and other places. They'll be able to forge ballots. They'll forge them. They'll do whatever they have to do. People should go and they should vote or do an absentee ballot.
So what are you doing to sort of secure terrorism?
Say it.
The military predominantly votes by mail or absentee.
Absentee.
And so
You didn't understand me. I said absentee ballots are actually a very good thing. Absentee ballots are secure and they're very good. But universal mail-in are a disaster. You're going to see an election and we're going to do very well in the election. Nobody wants that date more than me. I wish we'd move it up, okay? Move it up. But you're not prepared for what they're doing. And they're using COVID. You know, they're using the China virus. China must be very happy about it because they hit us with a virus and now they screw up an election like you will never see. You watch what happens. I don't think you'll ever give me any statement. I guess Trump was right, but the people know I'm right. Watch what happens. New York City has a little election. We just talked. You got to see. Do you know how far they're never going to have the result of that election? Never the correct result. They'll probably announce something at some point. But when did that take place? Like 5-6 weeks ago. Absentee ballots, great. Going to the polls, great. If you do universal mail-ins with millions and millions of ballots, you're never going to know what the real result of an election is. It's going to be a very, very sad day for our country. Go ahead.
If the system is a disaster, as you say, why not commit to putting in resources to fix it?
We're putting in all the resources you can. But as a couple of the radical left people said, you know, who actually agree with me, they said, no matter what you do, we're not prepared for this. They're not prepared for an onslaught of millions of ballots pouring in. They're not prepared. They're not prepared. You watch. They're not going to announce anything on November 3rd. They're not going to announce it on the 4th or the 5th or the 6th. It'll go on forever. People should go. You know, they voted, Mick, during World War I. They voted during World War II. They went to the polls. They voted. They went to their booth, and they voted proudly. But now with COVID, they don't want to vote. It's not they don't want to vote. This will be catastrophic for our nation. And you'll see it. I'm always right about things like this. I guess I must be. But I wouldn't be sitting here.